#1 sportscaster in South Florida for, I would say, what was it, Tony? 20 years sports? 20 or more?
27 years just sports.
Okay, just sports. And then
then another 13 and a half, 14 years doing both.
In a stunning Brent Musburger type of move, he takes over the news desk, and the next thing you know, CBS is calling about the evening news, and they're saying, you know what? Cronkite doesn't have much more time left on the clock there.
That's right, yeah.
Tony Segreto joins us here, going old school with Tony Segreto. Mike Lubitz, of course, with us on On Channel. And Tony, first of all, happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Hope you had a great, well, we know you had a great Thanksgiving, but now what's the Segreto family plan here? Because I would imagine that the gravitation and the pull is coming to return to South Florida from Vermont because of your duties and your responsibilities with the Orange Bowl Committee.
Yeah, we're going to do the holidays here. We're going to do Christmas here. We have a white Christmas. We'll do a quick run to the OB game, but be back in time for the New Year's celebration.
Oh, wow!
But it's a we're very fortunate. The family's all together. Thank you, God, and we have some dear friends here as well. Another family coming in, so it's it's the New England Christmas, so we're very blessed and very happy. But more importantly, we have friends. We have you guys, and we have other people that we love to call friends that we deal with. So we're very fortunate. It's funny you mentioned.
You're dressed with a couple of layers of clothing here, though. Watching an on Channel. I mean, did you have to step outside? And is it like 4 degrees, or what's going on up there?
No, it's reasonable. It's like 27 degrees. It's beautiful.
27.
Okay. 27. Yeah.
Is that Celsius? I mean, that's what I'd be rooting for.
It's 27 degrees, and my studio here is about 80 yards, 100 yards from the house. So,
oh my God, what kind of schlep is that?
It's not that bad. It's not bad.
Did you wear snowshoes? I mean, how did
I got
traverse
snowshoes.
this?
You have to wear snowshoes.
Undeveloped terrain.
Your perception of me being in the wilderness.
I see you as a mountain man.
You didn't know I can forage through the world and force.
I've seen you shove your way into the front of the line at a racetrack when post time was coming up for a race that was out of town, and you said, "Hey, look, I'm betting the simulcast. I'm Tony Segreto." Anyway, we had an interesting conversation on our Believe podcast, which we do after hours with Defo and Lubie, and we've had a lot of interesting guests there, including, and Leslie Visser turned us on to this gentleman, a guy named Michael Oresco, who I would imagine you came in contact with on your travels to that title game when Cincinnati played Houston, as you were getting set for a possibility that they may be in the Orange Bowl, and naturally to make all the arrangements that are necessary to pull off an event like this, you probably had to run into the commish of the AAC, a very interesting gentleman with a great background in sports.
Wonderful gentleman, and we met the deputy commissioner, and I have to tell you, very impressed that whole. I think I shared with you a couple of weeks ago. I went there a little bit jaded about the University of Cincinnati program and the fans. I wasn't sure, and I'm just going to be brutally honest. I wasn't sure if it was a UCF moment, where, it's sort of like the front runners. I'm jumping on the bandwagon. All of a sudden, we're good. We're going to beat our chest. We deserve to be with the big boys. Don't ignore us type deal. But I walked away so impressed, not only with how those fans love their team, some of which have been fans for well into 3 decades. The student body, they made everybody feel welcome. There was never any feeling of, we're better than everybody. We just want to be recognized. We believe we can play, not like, look at us. The commissioner walked up and talked to us all before the game and said, listen, we're going to do the best we can to show that, who we are and what we're doing. And very, very, very impressed. And like I said, also, I'm not sure how this game is going to go against Alabama. I really don't, because Cincinnati has surprised us all year. I mean, for them to go into South Bend and beat up on Notre Dame the way they did, and then continue the run and not have a moment where they came close to stubbing their toe. I just hope that if in fact they do lose, that it's not a blowout where people are going.
That's my fear.
They didn't belong here in the first place.
A whooping. That's the problem. Is as long as they're in this game, it'll be fine. It's if Alabama in the second half pulls away, it'll sort of suck.
Yeah. Agreed. Now, I don't know if Lubie shared with you, but last week I spent time with both Harbaugh and Kirby
post
Smart.
It now on my Instagram.
No, that was very impressive. I mean, we talked about it on the show. I couldn't believe you were going back to back. Kirby Smart one day, of course, the head coach at Georgia, and then who's Tony talking to today? Is it Molly? That has the milk stand down the street there in Vermont? No, it's Jim Harbaugh.
But what was
a very hot commodity right now. But
let me. I'm going to take the curtain back and tell you what happened. So we start the Harbaugh interview, and we're about maybe 2 minutes into the interview, and his phone is ringing. And he goes, "Guys, I am so sorry. I have to take this call." Well, he doesn't mute the mic.
Oh, really?
And we hear how, he's going crazy on the phone. And he comes back, and I go, "Sounded like a good call." He goes, "The best." And it was the young man who flipped from Notre Dame to Michigan, the wide receiver who called.
God.
And the rest of that interview, this guy was on cloud nine. He was laughing. He was happy. He could not have been more giving of his time. And Kirby Smart was the same way. In fact, with Kirby Smart, the same exact thing happened. And I believe it was Marvin Jones' son who called to say, we're coming to Georgia. So it was they were both very insightful, and I'm excited to see that game. I really am. That's going to be something special. And the tickets are out of sight. It's incredible.
Tony, you're not sorry you unloaded those 12 at Face. Or whatever generous offering you made to Ed Garcia.
Not at all. My buddy, my good friend Ed Garcia deserves it. And
you gave this guy 12 tickets. Of course, he's a regional manager at Texas Roadhouse. We should explain here. And Tony, I know you're a shrewd businessman, in addition to being a very sharp, and inspiring speaker. But that's a bold and brilliant move, my friend. Yeah, I couldn't applaud you enough for that.
I have to share with you too, because I know Ed's going to come on with us. So our son flew in last night into Connecticut. So I drove from Vermont to Connecticut to pick him up. And on the way back, we made a couple of stops to pick a few things up to bring home. And in the midst of one of those stops in Massachusetts, we pass a Texas Roadhouse. It was, I thought of us. I thought of all of us talking about it. It was jammed. Now, mind you, again, it wasn't really cold. It was probably, 30 degrees, 28 degrees. People are standing in line outside waiting to get in patiently. That's
drinking margaritas,
absolutely.
It's fantastic.
And why not?
No, I always love that. Look, there's a reason it's popular. It's because it's great food at ridiculously low prices. We'll get into that with Ed. What I want to see, though, in a Cincinnati game, and I don't know if Resco addressed this with you. We didn't get a chance to talk to him about this because a very, very eloquent speaker and very convincing and facing like bizarre challenges and just shrugging them off like it's nothing. Like all the good teams are defecting the conference, which he got started
including Cincinnati.
Cincinnati, I believe Houston also.
Yep. And Cincinnati, UCF, and Houston are leaving.
UCF as well. Yeah. So, they're losing three big powerhouses, including the team that broke the long-standing tradition of not having any schmenk teams, as you were kind enough not to use a word like that in association with the Cincinnati program. But let's face it, we're all curious as sports fans if David could beat Goliath, and we've seen it done in various sports. It's one of the great things about sport. But getting 13 in a hook consistently here, I want to see Pete Rose lead Cincinnati out of the tunnel, determined to at least, and I'm with you. I don't know that I'm going to be overly, depressed if somehow and want to condemn the whole circumstance of Cincinnati getting in if they get blown out by Alabama, because Georgia got blown out by Alabama.
Yeah.
So, it's possible that Alabama can come in on any given Saturday or whatever and just beat the snot out of you. They're that good. Yeah. The surprising thing was how vulnerable they were. So we'll have to see if Cincinnati can somehow test that. At that point, though, you want them to come away with a win, don't you, Tony?
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing. I think one of the things that Cincinnati has going for it is that they are so senior dominated, older guys that tend to look at things a little bit differently and handle things a little bit differently. And so far, now, mind you, this stage is bigger than anything they've ever played on. so far, they've been able to handle all of those situations. And the coaching staff has done a marvelous job in keeping them level-headed. So we'll see. I can't wait. I really cannot wait. This is going to be an amazing. I just wish, I'll be honest with you, I just wish it wasn't New Year's Eve. Honest to God, I just think that's tough.
That stinks.
Well, I mean, it's the way it shook out. I tell you what shook out very favorably for Ed Garcia of Texas Roadhouse Restaurants. He is the man when it comes to Texas Roadhouse. And all of the Southeast region is benefiting from his wisdom and leadership. And then at the same time, I don't know. I mean, you're not inclined to scalp those tickets, Ed? No. I know you're a diehard Michigan fan, but Tony was saying those things are going for like $3 a copy right now. That's a lot of money.
No way. I am going to enjoy and savor every single moment in every part of that area. There is no way. I have gotten some pretty cool offers, but I tell you, there's nothing stopping me from going to that game. I sold my tickets to the Michigan-Ohio State game, and it actually took less than 45 seconds. I put it on my phone. Before I put it back in my pocket, they were gone. And I regret that moment of being able to charge that field. So
yeah, it's going to be a great game. It's going to be a great game. Yeah. So Ed, I don't know if you heard me. I don't know if you were on yet. I was driving through Massachusetts last night after picking our son up from the airport in Connecticut, past the Texas Roadhouse, and I am telling you, it was packed, absolutely packed, and people were standing outside, and I'm thinking to myself, you know what? They're getting ready to cook. They're tired of cooking. Or they want to get a break before the big Christmas rush. So they're going to go out and get a great meal. And why not? I get a sense that you may be seeing that across the landscape of the Texas Roadhouse restaurants. Ed, are you there? Hello?
I think we lost him temporarily there. Ed Garcia with us. Lubie, see what you can do, and we'll try and reconnect there with Ed Garcia. A little cell phone crap out, which is the enemy and the ultimate gremlin that you could possibly have in the broadcast industry today, other than maybe a computer blackout and Wi-Fi blackout. But anyway, Ed, he has to be excited. Now, what are you expecting in terms of division of crowd, Tony Segreto? You would have some insight into how the tickets are divided up. I guess each school gets an allotment to sell to their people, and then how does it work after that?
My guess would be for that game in Dallas, when I was in Cincinnati, everybody there was no question they wanted to come to Miami.
Oh, Alabama's going to overwhelm them. What are you talking about? They'll own the city.
You would think, but you also have to wonder if Alabama's fans are getting ho-hum tired about it, and because it's Cincinnati, they may be saying, "We're just going to wait for the big game." Why am I going to?
I think they like it even better. I think they smell blood, and they can't wait to pounce. They're like a shark in waters where two hemophiliacs have just fallen in. All right, we do have Ed Garcia with us, and Ed, you and Tony were talking about your plans for the ball game and how excited you are, and Tony believes, and I do too, and maybe this is not a good omen, but that I'm on board. But I believe Michigan is in there with a legitimate shot.
I absolutely agree that Michigan is coming to play, and I think that's the game right there to watch. The winner of that game is going to be taking it to the playoffs and winning the playoffs. I feel really great. What an awesome matchup! What a culmination of the year. I mean, less than 0.4% chance that Michigan was going to make it that far, and here they are representing. Very, very, very excited.
Yeah, and you should be, and I just think I think it's going to be great. So let's talk about Texas Roadhouse. Christmas only a few days away. You're obviously going to be closed for Christmas, so there's no restaurant open there. But that doesn't mean you can't go beforehand and give yourself a break in preparing for Christmas. But another great thing is that you could do, to me, you get Texas Roadhouse gift cards, or Ed Garcia, you could be sending friends of yours ribeye steaks for the holiday via the Texas Roadhouse. What is the website again for to do that? Because that is a great gift.
Yes, absolutely. It's TRButchershop.com. So T for Texas, R for Roadhouse, butchershop.com. We have fillets, we have ribeyes, and we even have that bone-in ribeye, which if you don't know, the ribeye is the most flavorful steak. Why? we call it marbling. That's a little bit of the fancy / bougie way of kind of describing some delicious fat, is that it's on the grill. It's just turning into butter and marinating that steak a little bit more. I like cooking that. Typically I like my steaks rare, but a ribeye, I like going medium to just really kind of melt that marbling and give it a little bit of extra flavor. And then for an additional couple of bucks, you can add some of that Texas Roadhouse signature seasoning to put right on there. And you want to talk about, being the coolest person in your block. That's it right there. You grill those on your grill, you're going to be good to go, and you're going to have a very happy family.
Nice. And I think that's a great gift. Even if you can't, you look at the time and the date and think, well, I may not get there in time. That doesn't mean you still can't send a nice gift like this for the holidays, because you still have it for New Year's Eve that you can do. And I just think, again, it's a great deal. And again, it's trbutchershop.com. Is that what it is again, Ed? I want to make sure we get this right.
That is correct. T for Texas, R for Roadhouse, butchershop.com.
Well, what better than having, some margaritas from Texas Roadhouse, have a couple of ribeye sent in to you, sitting down and helping Ed cheer on the Michigan Wolverines.
Still Big Blue.
Yeah.
We're with you.
Good luck,
yeah.
Ed.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
Well, Ed, listen, we are grateful for you. We wish you a very Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for being a part of our family. We could not be any more grateful or happier that this relationship has developed the way it has. And we believe in what you do and what Texas Roadhouse does as well.
Merry Christmas.
You well, Ed. Thanks.
All right. Thanks a lot. Ed Garcia, man. The championship meet is right around the corner at Gulfstream Park. The only place for live racing, Gulfstream's action has never been hotter. Whether it's on the track, in the casino, or part of the dining and entertainment offered at the Village of Gulfstream Park. Currently running Thursday through Sunday, Gulfstream's racing package is the best in the country, with all the top horses and people in the game pointing towards another tremendous winter season. Check out the remodeled first floor casino, open 7 days and nights a week, along with the many special events and concerts happening at Gulfstream Park. You can place your wagers from anywhere at firstbet.com. Check the calendar of events at gulfstreampark.com.
Recently, we realized it's not just hurricane season that can hurt us. Any time of year, things can happen to your home or business. And the insurance company can be your friend, but they also can be your enemy. Horizon Public Adjusters, Justina Testa, are here for you to help this process go so much easier. Before you call the insurance company, call Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa at 954-809-8752. Would you go into court without an attorney? So why would you go up against an insurance company without Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa? 7 to 10 times more money recovered with a public adjuster than if you went on your own. If there's no recovery, there's no fee. Give them a call at 954-809-8752. Why go up against insurance companies alone when you can have Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa on your side?
Just Google the Defo Show. You get audio and video streaming, and it's archived, and everything we've done is right there. I mean, it's the naked truth right there in front of you. Everything we've done on Ion Channel, and happy to be with these guys heading into the new year. But you remember a guy named Peaches at the track?
Yeah.
He was.
Well, yeah,
he worked on the backstretch a little bit, and he walked with a limp, and he was old when he was born. Yeah,
there was Peaches. There was Binocular Bob.
Binocular Bob.
Don't you remember Binocular Bob?
Always have the weirdest name.
It was like,
remember people used to rent binoculars when you came in. That was the big debate. Like you didn't bring your own binoculars; you would rent them there. Yeah. So you could watch the races because you did far less going. There was no such thing as screen to screen back then.
Right.
And so you zeroed in on the live racing, and that was kind of a nice way to take in the whole event.
You know what's weird to me to this day, Defo and Lubie, but yes. Really Defo, because he and I are of the same generation. To think that you could be at the track and actually make a phone call.
Yes.
Right? Because before
there were payphones though at racetracks.
Yeah, but they weren't easy to find. It wasn't one of those things.
Just in case some kid got lost, you had to call somebody. You had to have a phone available.
I get that, but still, it's just, and to see children running around, which I think is great.
Yeah.
But it's just so different. It is so different today. But you talk about Peaches, and I want to hear your story. Those days to me probably are some of the most precious days of my career, to be able to go to the track early in the morning, sun's coming up, watching the horses train, spending time with, legendary trainers, Woody Stevens, great jockeys, great horses, Forgo, of Seattle Slew, all of those, to spend time like that. It's what a blessing. What a true blessing.
Dripping in history. I was very lucky because I was on 3 different racing circuits where I was involved in coverage. I grew up in New York, obviously, and I've been around the New York tracks more than I care to admit to. And then I was covering racing out in California at Santa Anita and Hollywood Park, and that was great because each one was a distinctly different atmosphere. Hollywood Park, much more like a slime ball type of place, like Jamaica, Queens, where you'd go in the aqueduct and, you'd question your own credibility as a human being by being in this crowd. And then Santa Anita was very elegant, out there, Pasadena, where the Rose Bowl is being played, and a whole different scene there, very majestic. And then Hialeah and Gulfstream, wow, I mean, could have been any more out of the Great Gatsby back in the day there. Yeah. Peaches would give a different horse to 8 different people in an 8-horse field, and then come around to the one that he realized he had given the winner to, and give him the look like, you must have made a fortune on that. Come on. Right? You're going to have to spring for a little bit.
That's great.
And that was his game. An elder black gentleman who, you could see him roaming around the backstretch there. Now, you're right, Tony. I mean, now you see Pletcher on his cell phone. You're going, who is he talking to? Who's he talking to?
Yeah.
It's 1 minute to post time. Cancel my bets. Lou, cancel everything.
Yeah. It's absolutely bizarre to see that. But, listen, we see where everything is trending, especially now with all the money that's bet on college football. We know what the money spent on the NFL is, but what they're doing in college football for these bowl games and things like that. Wow. I just,
all right. That leads to the question. How involved are you so far? Because we did recommend that everybody take the points in every game in the ball games this year and see if you would come out ahead.
I think
that was working to the tune of 7-1 through the first 8 ball games, but then the trend is reversing a little bit now. Although one game is in dispute whether the favorite or the underdog won, because if you look at it on the actual line, the underdog won. But if you look at it on the line my friend Francesco gave me in our individual booking activity, I was playing, but with the favorite. My son and I are going to do something. Pardon me, or we're going to do something monumental.
I'm not sure what that something is going to be.
Is your wife aware of this?
Yeah. She'll weigh in.
Right.
And she weighs in. She weighs in. She likes going to the track with me. She loves going to she prefers the horses than betting on a game. Although she'll weigh in and go,
I have great respect for.
Yeah. She'll go. Are you sure? I mean, she'll ask pointed questions like, is that enough? Is that enough points? Did you get too many? Are we giving too many?
Are you getting like 12 on this Michigan game?
What is your
from this guy, this
it's like
bookmaker from heaven that you make your wages with?
Bookmaker from heaven.
Three. No, exactly. But here's the point, and I've learned this the hard way. Even though intellectually, I understand it. When you give a team a month off, you're not sure what you're going to get.
Yep.
You really don't know what you're going to get. Yeah. They could be as sharp and sharper than they were at the end of the season, or they could be, totally,
struggling.
The cats and jammer, the Keystone Cops, cats and jammer kids, all rolled into one, making mistake after mistake because of the moment. So, but again, it was telling my son last night. That how much I think Michigan is going to win, and him being a Notre Dame grad goes, oh no.
Oh, yeah? No, Georgia in this
game?
Can't even.
So he goes, that just can't happen. That just can't happen.
All right, well, you're on the committee, though. Here's what we want from you, Tony Segreto, and
sure.
we would have a little time to work on this. No, not tickets. This would be better than tickets if you could provide us with this inside information, because you would have access to finding out which team was partying, which team was, looking very lethargic in practice.
There yet. They're not there yet.
Okay, but I'm talking about once it's game on, dude, my friend. We're talking about next week. You need to be in contact with us constantly.
You got to have an inside source that's keeping an eye on stuff and just like, hey,
I absolutely will. It's interesting. I talked to both.
I want to know who's at strip clubs. I mean, which quarterback was threatened with arrest, and they realized, oh no, we need him. He's in the Orange Bowl game.
Who was seen in Hallandale Beach?
So a couple of calls were made from very high authorities that said, Don't even write up a ticket.
Listen, you don't think that's a concern? That is a 100%. Big deal. That is
Miami. Hello.
You got Georgia. I mean, especially not so much for Georgia because they're not in the north, but you get these people from Michigan and everybody from Michigan, and it's 80 degrees and they're leaving 5 degrees, and they get sand between their toes, and they go out on South Beach or they even go downtown or Fort Lauderdale, wherever. They're just going to be so darn happy to be outside and get fresh air and see palm trees. That I think managing that's going to be the toughest thing, managing all of this once they get here, for sure. All
right. Well, Harbaugh seems to have a pretty good handle on things, and that you would imagine.
Oh, Kirby's smart.
I hate to use this, very cliche-esque here, but that kids would enjoy playing for. Jim Harbaugh seems to have that kind of connection with the bizarre and ability to relate past the point of just being some militaristic type.
He is
and keeping the discipline that way.
He's just quirky enough, to make you like him. You know
exactly.
What I mean? He's just quirky. He is so good for the game. And you talk about two distinctly different personalities going at each other in Kirby and in Jim. I mean, you totally different. And I have to tell you, Kirby was as charming and as forthcoming as could be, and just excited about being at the game, and didn't bother him talking about what happened against Alabama. And, I said, listen, we grow. And that's one of the things that we keep hearing over and over again about Georgia is the culture that they've established inside that locker room. So we'll see. I think it's going to be, I just hope they're really good games. I hope they all go down to the wire. I hope Cincinnati stays in the game. And listen, I think the New Year's Six Bowls, I think they're going to be terrific. I think some of those matchups are really, really good.
All right, so you're inclined to send it in on Michigan. That's what you're saying.
I am.
Right now, the line is 7.5. It started 6.5. It's kind of been steady there at 7.5 for quite some time.
Alabama hasn't moved much.
I saw 13.5. Look it up for you.
What did it open? What did Alabama open at?
13.5, and
so it stayed that way.
It hasn't moved at all.
Yes, it's still 13.5 according to yesterday's line here, which I'm getting yesterday's news tomorrow here in my New York Post. But no, that'd be great. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see Michigan somehow. I never thought in a million years I'd be rooting for Michigan. Holy Bo Schembechler. They were not among my favorite teams. It was another team that I guess you've seen embattled in various arguments and games with the University of Miami, who, by the way, they are favored in, what are they in, the Sun Bowl?
Yeah, the problem is they have like half their team has COVID, so no one knows if it's going to happen or not.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the other thing. You have to throw in, we were talking about this yesterday on the show, Tony, when you're doing any kind of handicapping right now, I mean, you could have the, home underdog factor, not necessarily in bowl games, but in the NFL, but you have to factor in the Fauci factor at this point. I mean,
for sure.
And it's almost impossible to know because of the way these protocols have been defined, where a guy has COVID and he's in ICU one day, and if it's Nick Saban, he's coaching the next day.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're like, wait a minute. I mean, what happened to the public safety and the idea that you didn't want any of your beloved fans to contract this hideous disease?
But I agree with you. I think this is really sort of playing Russian roulette when you place a bet, because you just don't know.
You don't know.
You may have the star quarterback out. You may have them out because of
and they may have opted out just because they're going pro.
Yeah, but at least you'll know beforehand. At least
I guess that's true. You at least know that.
It's tornado versus hurricane, I guess. In this sense.
Yeah.
No warning.
But I'm excited to see all these other bowl games too. I'm probably more excited this year because I think that I've taken an interest in other teams other than just the ones that we normally focus on. So I'm curious to see how the other schools do in certain situations, and it's a great way to end the season. And
have you unloaded yet? That would be my compelling question here.
We haven't done anything. We haven't done anything yet. But
you haven't taken that rubber band off that rather substantial bankroll that you made hosting those national television highlight shows.
No. That's still in a sock underneath the mattress. Yeah.
Oh, very good. That's probably the best place to keep it with what banks are doling out in terms of interest rates. My mother was a big believer in banks, and I always told her, "Hey, Ma, why don't we just take that capital and buy a racehorse?"
Yeah,
that'd be the way to go. Which was an idea she wasn't exactly thrilled by.
What a surprise! So I have to ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
I'm very, very, very confused. And Lubie, maybe you should answer it before Jeff does.
Okay.
So he's saying he's moving. He said he's moved.
Yes.
But it seems to me his studio looks exactly the same.
It's a
you
magic
move
trick.
into
No,
we moved into the same
studio,
place. We just bought it, so we moved out and moved in.
We have some time off, and then he will slowly move everything over so that we can make sure the new year.
We don't want to mess it up. Yeah.
So you're still in the old place?
No, I'm not in the old place. I left my stuff in the old place, the studio type of stuff that I needed to do the broadcast. Because I didn't want to move it and then from one day to the next have to worry about all of the settings changing.
Yes.
Because we're doing too many things here.
We've been doing a lot.
It's not like, we're jeopardizing one show and then Jack's going to call and go, "Hey, where the fuck are you?"
Hey, listen. I after
to answer your question, though, we moved everything except what I'm using to work with. And it works out okay because we're doing so much stuff right now that, it's sort of nice to have a little sanctuary where you don't have to worry about a dog jumping in your lap as you're in the middle of a commercial. And, all the various things. Yesterday we were doing something. It was just audio, but the Mustang is bothering me about she needs the keys to my car, which I wasn't anticipating her even coming over here. But it turned out she was playing tennis at the park and now is on her way to Costco and needed my SUV. So,
you were talking to Oresco, the commissioner of the AAC.
Yes, the guy was very interesting. Yeah,
and then I can see Defo talking to the Stang.
I'm trying to tell her, hey, don't you know what I do? I can't talk to you right now. I really can't. I wish I could, but I can't. I can't even pull these headphones off and go, "Hey, pipe down already." No, but this was convenient, but it's going to look really good if we set this thing up right at the other place. Okay. I just haven't. I have a little time off coming up, and we're going to get that done in the next couple of weeks. And then I'll find my checkbook also, Tony. I promise.
Exactly. After last week, that's what they always say. After last week's show, I get a really nice kind of one-word text from Jack saying kudos, good show. But Jack Namer and Amy and all those guys are great. We're just very happy that he kept the show alive and kept us all going and looking to see what else we could do to make all this work. But boy, oh boy, it seems to have taken off. How many viewers and listeners do we have now? Like thousands? Thousands?
We're over 8 or 9. I'm pretty sure.
8 or 9 people or 89?
I don't know. I don't look at those things. I just look at the product and say I can sell this to somebody. Trust me, it's coming.
We're getting more and more people, and people are finding
the big money's
really
coming.
cool.
The big money is right around the corner. 2022. Late in life, things came around to our way of thinking. I know you weren't necessarily inclined as a broadcaster to dive into degenerate gambling conversations, but you hung out with Bob Weaver the weatherman, degenerate weatherman.
Listen, Weaver, and again, old school.
Guy was at the dog track between 6 and 11, man, going, "Hey, is it raining? I think I predicted snow."
Weaver would shuffle into my office after the 6 o'clock show and go, "Do you want me to place a bet? I'm off to the track." And I
dinner there every night. Courtesy of Ken Malden.
I said, "Well, chances are you will see my parents there."
That's great.
Wow, the Segretos at the dog track.
Oh, my mom and dad, God rest their souls, boy. They would go to the dog track. If they could go every night, they would.
It was a pretty cool thing back in the day. I guess the cruelty element is not favorable conversation.
No, not now. But anyway, so Bob would and then when there was a very famous dog by the name of Kithed, Kithed. And before Kithed became famous, Bob would come in my office and go, "Listen, you got $20?" I go, "Yeah, why?" He goes, "Listen, I'm telling you, we'll make a killing. No one knows about this dog." And son of a gun, if he wouldn't come back that night in time for the 11 o'clock show and, peel off $120 for me as a result.
Beautiful, man. As a young Segreto.
Go, man. This is huge.
No wonder you have this sickness. It's fantastic.
Meantime, my mom and dad. I'm calling my mom and dad, going, "You better start betting on this dog so you can start winning some dough."
TV stations were out there following this dog, Pease Rambling. You remember Pease Rambling?
Got
on like a 400 race winning streak or something. And he campaigned from Oklahoma all the way to Southwest Florida. And you would people would flock over to Naples to watch this dog run at Bonita Springs. It was amazing.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10. And Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10, you're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar, and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.